Incarceration in the United States is a primary form of punishment and rehabilitation for the commission of felony and other offenses. The United States has the largest prison population in the world, and many activists describe this as a problem known as mass incarceration. From slavery to the war on drugs, marginalized groups have fell victim to the prison system, and today we are fighting still to put an end to this, especially in the Black community. There are a wide range of disparities in our prison system. As we can see here, 1 in 17 white men are imprisoned in comparison to 1 in 3 Black men. These are statistics that we need to pay close attention to when we're evaluating our prison system and why certain arrests are more frequent than others. This is a result of redlining and income inequality. You may wonder, why is this important? What has changed over the years? Incarceration has increased by 500% in the last 40 years, and there are many activists and advocacy groups who are trying to put an end to this today. For example, we have the Sentencing Project. The Sentencing Project is a Washington, D.C. based research and advocacy center for working for decarceration or to reduce the use of incarceration in the United States and address racial disparities in the criminal justice system. Their main goal is to work for a fair and effective U.S. justice system by promoting reforms in sentencing policy and address unjust racial disparities in practices and advocate for alternatives to incarceration. You might think, what are alternatives to incarceration there are? There are many, such as restorative justice, transformative justice, and many other ways that we can increase community involvement. Founded in 1989 by Bryan Stevenson is the Equal Justice Initiative. This program is committed to ending mass incarceration and excessive punishment in the United States and challenging racial and economic injustice and to protecting basic human rights for the most vulnerable people in American society. The Equal Justice Initiative works with communities that have been marginalized by poverty and discouraged by unequal treatment. They are committed to changing the narrative about race in America. Quoted here is the true measure of our character is how we treat the poor, the disfavored, the accused, the incarcerated, and the condemned. Bryan Stevenson is an American lawyer, a public interest lawyer, who is mostly known for his case in exonerating a man on death row, Walter McMillian. He has saved many who have fell victim to our prison system and their racial biases. In his documentary, True Justice, Bryan Stevenson's Fight for Equality, he struggles to create fairness in the system and shows how racial injustice emerged and how it is intertwined with history of slavery, lynching, segregation, and lastly, mass incarceration. I believe that Bryan Stevenson is one of the most influential advocates when it comes to mass incarceration. He came from nothing, and he built a career that involved putting his work toward liberating those who have fell victim to our prison system. He has influenced many, such as the Sentencing Project and the Equal Justice Initiative, to look deeper into why our criminal justice system works the way it does. Civil rights advocate Michelle Alexander, who is also an acclaimed civil rights lawyer, has a quote saying, "Mass incarceration is the most pressing racial justice issue of our time." This is important to note because we recognize mass incarceration as the new Jim Crow. This is a systemic issue that many people who are people of color, who are poor, who have mental illness, are basically put down and they are not able to climb out of it themselves. And this is why we must come together and create a new system, alternatives to incarceration. Today, it is important that we stand up against mass incarceration and come together to protest and put the word out there so more people are aware of this.